of gangsters. Right now, the moon is at 25% illumination in the sign of Cancer, headed towards the new moon in Virgo on the 3rd. So, and right now is Virgo season, so happy birthday to the Virgos out there. But yeah, let's see how this energy is affecting you personally, what you can expect, what's moving towards you, away from you, you know, all those things. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Also, if this does not resonate with you, I have plenty of other timeless readings. Although I feel that you find the message when you're meant to. So, there should be something in this reading for you. Alright, now let's get started. Who are you? Alright, there's a lot coming out for you right now. Okie dokie. Wait. It is not time yet. Things are being woven. Alright, so now I want to know what you're waiting on. But before we figure that out, before I clarify all these, we'll go through all these. So we've got you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. So this tends to go with that feeling of feeling alone, or kind of like lone wolf energy, right? And but this is kind of, you know, reassuring you that you do have your soul family. You do have people coming into your life that really do connect with you on a deeper level. This could even be in terms of a relationship, if that is something that you are looking at towards. And I say that because the next card out is Fall Into My Arms, right? And this is all about surrendering to holding the opposites, extremes of life, right? Very yin-yang energy. So Fall Into My Arms is like surrendering to the outcome and kind of you know, just kind of going with the flow of things rather than trying to force things or trying to you know, rush your outcomes. I always see it this way too, that like, why would you rush your outcomes? You know, rushing to your outcomes just kind of makes your life play out a lot faster. You don't want to reach the end of your story just yet, because your story still has a lot to play out. So, you know, I think that's where the wait kind of comes into play, you know, like your patience and just understanding that that which is meant for you will be yours, you know, regardless of how patient or impatient you are, right? And so you may as well just, you know, carry that mindset that, you know, what is meant for you will be yours. And you don't need to try to rush the process along. We have Child of the Cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. And you know, this, I love this because it's like the wisdom of the universe, right? Not just the intelligence, but the wisdom, right? And you can be intelligent without being wise, right? I feel like we understand, you know, wisdom is more experience based, intelligence is more comprehension based. And so with that, you know, it's like you have to understand that everything that composes you, every atom of your body, is the same kind of construct that composes a star billions of light years away from you, right? And through quantum entanglement, you can actually affect a star billions of light years away from you. And it's understanding this interconnectedness between you and the all, right? And when you are connected in that way and you understand that there is actually no separation between you and your outcomes and you and your, your desires or whatever, it's a lot easier to attain it, right? It's like, it's harder when you're looking and you're like, well, there's not $1 billion in my hands. But there's actually not really a separation between you and $1 billion, because it's just energy, right? Energy is all encompassing. Energy literally connects everything in the known universe, right? There's not a micro, there's not a microscopic measurement of space without energy, right? Energy actually kind of fits the very description of God, right? It can't be created nor destroyed. It's eternal, right? It's everywhere, and it literally powers everything, right? It gives us consciousness. It turns on the lights, it runs the cars, it moves everything, right? Nothing in the universe can actually operate or work without energy. And so in a lot of ways, energy is God, right? It is the thing. And it's not some like angry dude in the sky yelling, telling you this, do this or you're going to hell. No, it's a vibration that says vibrate on this frequency and you will attract more on that frequency. Vibrate on this frequency and you will attract more on that frequency, right? And so you understand that it's not like heaven and hell or punishment, but merely a vibration, and you can decide for yourself what vibration you want to attract, right? Do you want more of the positive shit? Then you gotta vibrate on that frequency. If you want more of the negative shit, you gotta vibrate on that frequency, right? And before you say nobody wants that negative shit, actually, I have met some that do, right? Chaos lords, right? People that actually, they find themselves energetically thriving in the darkness, right? They just love it. They love the appeal of the darkness, right? So, yes, there are some people who actually do want that. And so, it is whatever you choose to operate on, right? Where you choose to be in the whole scheme of things, right? A new earth, it is happening. Keep holding the vision. This really plays into the weight, right? It's not time yet. Things are being woven. And so, this is really telling you to keep holding on to the vision, which to me makes me feel that you are manifesting something, right? Because right before manifestation comes to life, right, we have to really hold tight to that, to the visualization, right? We have to keep the vision in our hearts and our minds, right? We have to be so deep in the vision that it's almost that energetically you're already behaving as though you already have it, right? You're already energetically in that frequency of already having it, right? And that's what really brings about the manifestation, right? Because you're kind of tricking the universe, saying, oh, I already have this $1 billion. And then the universe is like, oh yeah, here you go. Let's make it so, so and that's just an example, you could be trying to manifest whatever, but it's just the easiest example, right? So called soul gifts and training, it is time to step up, right? So this talks about your spiritual gifts. Many are called, few are chosen, right? And so to me, this makes me think of that scripture when you are, before you were formed in the womb, I knew you, right? I know I'm botching it. I know I am. If you guys know it, then correct me, right? It's been like 84 years since I've even been in a church, so the scriptures are a bit fuzzy. But you are in this world, but not of this world, right? I'm just gonna summarize it for you. Before you were formed in the womb, I knew you, and you were set apart, right? And so it basically talks about being set apart and like having a purpose that transcends time and space, really. Like your purpose was embedded in you before your DNA was formed, right? On an energetic level, your energy was already on the path to this, right? You're just a physical manifestation of what your energy has been trying to do since forever. And it's like, and you know it, right? So when you feel called to something, it doesn't stop calling you, right? For example, a painter doesn't stop being called to paint, right? They might stop painting, but that urge, the connection to it's always gonna call to you, right? You're always gonna feel that need to come back. You see a painting and you're just like, man, I need to be painting. I need to be doing that, right? And same with musicians. You can try to give up music all you want, but if you're called to make music, it's, you got the music in you. You got the music in you. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I don't know the words, but yeah, you know what I'm saying though. Like, you know, it's just, it's in you, right? So whatever it is that you're called to do, whatever natural talents you have that need to be expressed, you already know, right? You already know what it is, and you already know that you need to be working towards that. Or you're discovering what it is. That's also a potential. Because as soon as I said you already know, I was like, wait. You could be discovering it. You could be in, you know, in that spot of figuring it out. So I want to know what you're waiting for, right? Because as an Aquarius, I'm very curious. I like to know everything. So let's see. What are you being called to wait on? I'm just, you know, I feel like this reading is going to be a whole lot of me clarifying all of your oracle cards from the beginning. So let's see. Don't let go, you got the music in you. I'm figuring out the lyrics as I go. All right. Okay. So, yeah. With the Knight of Swords in reverse, you're being called to wait on taking a certain action, right? With the Two of Swords, this is kind of like, wait, pump the brakes. Don't just jump into something, right? Or don't be too impulsive, right? Because we also have the Chariot in reverse, right? Like, don't move forward just yet. Like, you might be feeling the urge to just kind of like rush or jump or like extend yourself in some way, right? There's, if you don't feel it yet, you're going too soon, but you're gonna feel this impulse, right, to take a certain action, to move towards something. Because you're being guided by your heart, right, with the King of Cups, right, King of Love. So it could be, you know, pursuing a person. It could be also pursuing an opportunity. But what I'm seeing here with the Four of Swords is right now, it's saying, take it easy. And it's kind of funny because it's followed up with the Star card, Aquarius energy. And I'll tell you why I think this is funny. And it's because if you do have like because we've got Cancer and Aquarius showing up. So if you have like a love interest in like an Aquarius or Cancer, you're really being called to like slow the fuck down, right? It's like, do not try to do it all at once, right? Don't try to jump from like, courtship to marriage in like 2 weeks, that's kind of the energy I'm feeling. And take it as it resonates, because this could also be like an opportunity, right? The star also represents stardom, right? So it could be, something that seems like it could be taking you to greater heights or whatever, but it's like, but with the Four of Swords, it's telling you, take care of yourself, rest, do what you gotta do. But going back to where I was like, I think it's funny with the Chariot in reverse and the Star is if you are interested in a Cancer or Aquarius, right? If that is something that you're trying to pursue, you don't want to ambush them with your love, right? You don't want to do that. Like, that's the quickest way to lose a Cancer or an Aquarius. They suffocate easily, right? So, so there's definitely, this energy that you should, take it slow. Don't overthink it, don't like try to throw all of yourself into the connection all at once if that's the case. I'm going to get clarity on if this is a person, and I keep feeling like it could be a love interest because it's, like we've got You're Not Alone and Fall Into My Arms, and that's really feeling like it could be a romantic interest. But let's... A little vague, but okay. We've got the Ten of Cups in reverse with the Emperor. And Ten of Cups represents like a whole family dynamic, right? Mom, dad, kids, grandkids, whatever, It's like building up like that, a strong family dynamic with somebody, right? With the Emperor showing up, right? It's like you're showing up as a strong masculine energy with the King of Cups and the Emperor. The Emperor is all the kings in the upright, right? And it's good to see like the King of Cups and the Emperor both showing up in the upright, right? Emperor's Aries energy, so we've got a little fire water energy in you too, where there's, because King of Cups is water, but it's kind of like you're hot then you're cold. No, I'm kidding. But it's kind of like back and forth energy, right? In your feelings and then in your head. In your feelings and in your head. With the Ten of Cups in reverse, I feel that you want kind of like a stable kind of relationship or like kind of family dynamic, right? You're looking to build something in that regard. At least the person I'm reading for, right? Because it keeps feeling pretty strongly like that. So, like I said before, if this is not your reading, you know, I have plenty of other timeless readings and I will be putting out more. So, yes. But who I'm reading for, it does look like they are on a romantic pursuit. And it's kind of like very hold your horses energy, right? And, you know, I would also dare to say, before you do try to jump into relationship zone with anybody, make sure you like them. You know, because you might like things about them, right? You might vibe with them, right? You might jive with them. But make sure you like them even past, you know, when the norepinephrine wears off, when the oxytocin wears off, right? Because falling into like with somebody is like just a bunch of chemicals bursting off in your brain, and it's like literally like getting high. And so, you know, I think also that's where patience is a virtue, because you want to wait. You want to see, like, how does this hold up when I'm not feeling completely, like, enamored, right? Like, well, I mean, you could feel enamored in any sense, but, there's a word. A way to describe this, but you know what I mean though, right? Like when you're not in like the peak of all these feelings, right? Like on the days that you're bored with this person, right? And I don't mean like you're bored with them, but like you're bored and you're hanging out with them, or like, you know, like it's not so super exciting and it doesn't feel like some angsty hipster movie or whatever, you know. It feels like, you know, once all that high energy from the chemicals in your brain, you know, once all that starts wearing off and you go back to your normal state, like, how do you do with them? You know, do you actually like them or do you judge them? You know, because a lot of the times we think we like love the shit out of somebody, right? And then down the road, you realize that every single thought that you think about that person is actually kind of a judgment. You know, you don't like what they do in their spare time, or you don't like the way they eat, or you don't like, you know, certain things that are unchangeable, right? Things that they're just going to continue being themselves and they're going to continue doing these things. But you notice over time that, like, you don't actually like those things, but you like how they look with you, or you like, you know, that you can have certain conversations, or you like their hobbies or whatever. But really, do like, you know, take an emotional, mental inventory on, like, do you actually like them? Um, and I'm saying this as a divorcee, right? Divorcee, whatever. Because I think that's important. I think you should know, because you don't want to end up, you know, with somebody that you resent or that resents you. Because you may not like the way that they talk, or the things that they talk about, or you may not like how they like their life to be, right? And so you have to really separate the imaginings in your head versus the reality of who they are. Do you like the reality of who they are? Do you like the dynamic that puts you in? So I'm a little rambly about that, but I do think that's important. You know, too many people in today's day and age, they get caught up with somebody because they're comfortable with what's familiar and what's known, you know, and they have a type. That's the worst thing, is to have a type, because you're just chasing the same person that you already failed to have a relationship with before, right? You're just chasing that same person in a different body over and over and over, and you're gonna have the same outcome every fucking time, because you're chasing what's familiar. Familiar, you know, it's like the devil you know is safer than the one you don't, right? So a lot of times people chase this comfortability, this familiarity, but it makes them miserable, right? In the long run, it makes them absolutely, like, they're not happy. If you're not actually happy with your type, why do you keep chasing your type, right? Like, so it's actually wise to step outside of that, right? And I do believe you should be attracted to somebody, but allow yourself to venture outside of like your normal type, because that type was actually built out of your traumas. It was built out of your survival mode, you know. It was built based off of like your relationship with your parents, your siblings. It was, you know, literally just constructed for you by all the enculturation of your life. So when you decide that you want life to be different, you want connections to be different than they have always been, then you have to like challenge yourself to maybe look at things that you haven't really entertained before, right? Healthy seems boring as fuck to somebody who grew up in a very traumatic life, right? Healthy seems boring as fuck. They're like, why isn't this person getting jealous? Why aren't they acting possessive? Why aren't they blah, 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 blah? Because toxicity is so attractive when it's all you've ever known, right? And it really has a way of pulling you in, right? It really has a way of keeping you kind of tethered to your own demons, you know? It keeps you reliving your own cycles. And people wonder why they keep attracting the same types of people. Well, actually, it's not that. It's not that you're attracting the same types of people. It's that you're attracted to the same types of people. Right? So you have to change your brain if you want to change your life, you know? You want everything to be different. You have to do everything differently, right? And that's just, you know, so I think that's part of the patience thing. Like, give yourself an opportunity to know if that's even what you really want. Does that actually fit with your life, with your ideals, with your values? You know, because a lot of the times the thing that looks great doesn't feel great. And a lot of the times, like, the thing that feels great doesn't look how we might want it to in our little, you know, ego, right? Because I saw this thing where I was watching this video on narcissistic relationships. I love watching things on, you know, I mean, obviously I'm a tarot reader, so I should know a thing or two about healthy relationships, right? But Dr. whatever her name is, she was like, the biggest thing about narcissists when they get into relationships, they're always worried about, how does this person look with me, right? Do they make me look good, right? And a healthy relationship is looking at, How do I feel with this person? Do they make me feel good? Right? And so understanding that you're operating in your ego if it's all about the superficial, right? If it's all about how do they look with me versus how do I feel when I'm talking to them or when I'm connecting with them. Do I feel connected to them? Is there consistency? Is there stability? Is there honesty? Is there, like really good, clear communication? Am I safe to communicate with this person without feeling invalidated? There are so many different aspects of relationships that you really should look into before throwing your entire self at it, right? And so I think that, a big part of this is, slow your roll. You might feel excited about a person. You might feel like you want that. Also, give yourself an opportunity to really figure out if that's what you want. Write down what you want and what you don't want when it comes to an emotional connection with somebody, a spiritual connection with somebody. And then, abide that, set your own standards, set your own boundaries and your non-negotiables and things like that. And those should be things that should be talked about very early on so that there's not miscommunication later. Or so that your boundaries don't get trampled on later, right? And vice versa. So you're not trampling on anyone else's boundaries or, in the same way that people plan when they're moving out of state, right? They have to get everything organized, the job, the place, how they're gonna get there, da 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 da. In the same way they have to plan all that out. You should plan out, kind of like when you're going to go into a relationship. You should make plans about that. Like, how do you want to enter into it? How do you want to feel in it? What is this connection like, right? Hold on to the vision of that. Because most of the time, when we're visualizing the perfect, well, I shouldn't say most of the time. I can't speak for all y'all. But, at least, like when... for me, when I visualize like my own perfect connection, I think about the things that we're gonna do and the things that we'll talk about and the way that I feel in their company. I don't necessarily think like, oh, all my friends are gonna want to fuck this person, or whatever, and because to me, I feel like that's kind of the vanity side of when people start pursuing people, that in the mindset of they want somebody that makes them look good. I'm like, you want somebody that all your friends want to bone. That's what you want. Like, because who are you showing your partner off to? Your friends, right? That's who you're trying to look good for. And so, yeah, separating out that like very superficial side and looking into the deeper side of things, because like, sure, a goldfish might be prettier than an anglerfish. A goldfish could never swim in the depths that an anglerfish swims in, right? And when an anglerfish mates, they literally fuse together with their partner for the rest of their lives, right? Like, they mate for life. They they share organs together, right? The connection with an anglerfish is so fucking deep and so real, right? Whereas goldfish, they're gonna swim around mating, forgetting their partner, moving on, mating with the next, forgetting their partner, moving on, mating with the next. So like really ask yourself, are you a goldfish or are you an anglerfish, right? Are you looking to swim in the deeps or are you just kind of like swimming, you know? Um, so, you know, because with this Ten of Cups in reverse, right? If you're looking for that Ten of Cups kind of love, that's anglerfish love, right? If that's the kind of connection you're looking for, that's not goldfish love, right? Goldfish might be shiny, but like an anglerfish is bioluminescent. Oh, okay. um, so you know, like one will light your way and one will like glitter in the light that's already there, you know. And so it's really understanding and separating the two. Like, what do you value in a person? Do you value the person you're with, right? Or are they just an accessory? These are things you need to consider when going into a connection, right? I see in the past you could have had some pretty tumultuous like relationships. Or at least one. We have the Empress in reverse, Venus energy, right? Venus is Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. Then we have the King of Wands in reverse. So having both these cards in reverse really indicates operating out of the ego, right? This is drama, this is unhappiness, this is inconsistency, this is shitty communication, this is, you know, all the things that we want to avoid, right? With the Page of Swords tells me that there could still be resentment between you and a previous connection, right? And so that could also be something that you need to sort out before really choosing to entertain a new connection, is like kind of ridding yourself of the resentment of that and kind of understanding things for what they are. The thing is like, it doesn't matter how great a person is, if they're not meant for you, it will never feel right. It will never feel peaceful. It will never feel happy. It will never, you know, it could be magnetic as fuck, but it could also just not be it, right? And that's something that you have experienced in the past, right? We call these karmic relationships, right? And so it looks like, you know, there's like some forgiveness and accountability that needs to happen there, right? And kind of, you know, because how are you going to move forward if you're still looking back, right? It's like if you're driving in a car and you're looking behind you like you're going to reverse, it's going to be kind of fucking hard to be driving forward if you're constantly staring behind you, right? And so you kind of have to let the past be in the rear view, you know. You're gonna have to stop, you know, kind of like looking back if you want to start driving forward. You know, and also not comparing and contrasting past partners with potential partners, you know, because no two connections are ever going to be the same. All right, you will always have a different dynamic with different people. Like I've had some really fun, goofy connections, and I've had some very serious like connections. You know, so and they serve their purpose, right? But I would never say that any connection is comparable to another, right? Like, no two people are the same, no two connections are the same, and you feel it. And so comparing two people is really in vain. And you know, you can't do it. They're not going to think the same. They're not going to operate on the same wavelength. They could look the same, but they're not going to be anywhere near the same, right? And allow people the freedom to be different, right, from what you've experienced before. Don't put them in a box like so quickly, right? Because we start categorizing people, and you know, like, oh, they ate their spaghetti like that, so they must be like my ex. No, that ain't how that works, right? It's a terrible example, but you know what I mean, right? Ace of Pentacles, I'm seeing that you will have an opportunity or an offer, or you might be extending an offer or opportunity, right? Ace of Pentacles is the biggest pentacle in the deck. This could also be taking on a new job, right? Since it is Pentacles. With the Seven of Swords showing up, and the fact that you still have the Page of Swords out here, there's still a lot that needs to be resolved internally, right? Or there's a lot that needs to be resolved with a person, because Seven of Swords, Page of Swords represents like manipulators, deceivers, you know, like lying, cheating, stealing kind of energy, right? And it definitely feels like this is an energy that you have around you. All right, with the Ace of Cups in reverse, followed up by the Lovers in reverse, this definitely feels like an ex, right? It definitely feels like that, because with the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's like you poured all of your own water into this, right? And water in tarot is emotions, right? So Ace of Cups is all about filling your own cup. You know, it's all about taking care of yourself and loving yourself, right? And with the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's like by entertaining this for so long, by even after a breakup, right? With the Lovers in reverse tells me that this is said and done. This is over. But some part of you still entertains it energetically because it is coming up in your reading. And so, you know, that's an act of not self-love, right? That's an act of like self-destruction. And so, yeah, you know, the Lovers is Gemini energy too. So you could be dealing with a Gemini, who knows? But apart from that, this is definitely like something that runs deep, and that this is something that hurts. But the more you entertain that hurt, the more you're just like ripping open the scab. You need to leave the scab alone and let it heal over, right? Because this is just not helping your mind, your heart, or anything. It's just keeping you held back in life. And it's not helping. So, yeah. With the Seven of Cups in reverse, this could also be hindering you from pursuing new relationships, or, you know, situationships, whatever. With the Three of Swords in reverse, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done, that will be done, right? We've got the Sun in reverse, Leo energy, but this is an interesting card because it has no reverse meaning, right? It's the only card in the whole deck that has no reverse meaning. It is what it is. And, you know, Humpty Dumpty is helping Alice over this wall, right? Humpty Dumpty is quite fragile himself, but he's helping her over this wall. And so I do see that, like, reaching out, to others, maybe platonically, having friends, and just, like, having somebody that you can go to really work through these things can be important, right? This is somebody helping you over that wall, helping you over the obstacles here. The Sun card does represent, like, emotional and physical abundance as well. So I do see you, like, headed towards that. And so if you feel like you need to spend more time with friends, family, a therapist even, that's an option. But it definitely looks like getting yourself out there, right? With the star and the sun being very, like, spotlight energy, allowing yourself to be, like, to get out there and to, like, make efforts to live your life differently than you have been. It can really, change the stars for you. Things could really turn out way better than they were before. And you have to, like, cut out that part that is constantly trying to relive the past, rehash the past, Yeah, with the Ten of Wands, it's like, this is such an emotional burden. This is like, it just hinders your progress, right? And I do see coming to the end of that. Alright, I do see, like, because 10 represents endings and new beginnings, and you have 10-10, right? 10 of Cups in reverse with the 10 of Wands. Endings, new beginnings. It is time to really, like, embark on something new and to stop playing out the narratives of the past, right? Stop expecting the past in the future. With the Five of Wands in reverse, I see an end to the conflict, right? I see an end to the feeling of feeling conflicted. And perhaps this is why you're being called to, like, hold your horses on, jumping into a new connection. Because there's still so much that is healing from the past, right? And, for me, at least, I see it this way. Like, when you can listen to sad songs and love songs and things like that, and nobody comes to your mind, right? And you don't feel like, like, absolutely nobody comes to your mind. That's when you're at the best point in your life to start moving on. But I am speaking mostly for myself in that. Because, like, I needed a couple years after my divorce to just, make sure all that shit is out of my head, But as long as every time you hear a love song or a sad song, that person comes to your mind, you're still entertaining them energetically. You're still so wrapped up in them energetically that it's not, like, you're still holding on, and that's not fair to do to any potential future partner, They deserve a clean slate, right? And that's what a new relationship should be, a clean slate, right? They deserve an opportunity to show you that they are not your ex. They also deserve the respect of being treated as their own person, right? And not being compared. So there are things to work through. Yeah, and this individual keeps showing up, this person from your past keeps showing up as the opposite of you, right? You showed up as the Emperor, they're the Empress in reverse, right? And that's not like equal opposite. It's not like twin flames, right? Where it's still compatible. It's like very incompatible. It's like energetically just no. You have the King of Cups with the Queen of Cups in reverse, right? Very like emotionally intelligent masculine energy with very emotionally not feminine energy, right? And so this is like whoever you're dealing with, whoever you've dealt with in the past, it feels like they don't have the same emotional investment that you did, right? With the Four of Cups, they leave you feeling rejected, right? They leave you feeling like you're not acceptable. And that's fucked up. But that's literally the energy I'm feeling, is like this past person just left you feeling like you're unacceptable. And in turn, you might project that onto future potential partners by finding all the ways that they may not be acceptable, right? But you have, like, when you understand it's a projection, then it really helps to change the narrative there, because we shouldn't be treating others how we have been treated, period. Especially when it's like that. But like, it's continuing the cycle of hurt, continuing the cycle of harm, right? When we project what has been projected onto us. If somebody made us feel rejected and unacceptable, unlovable even, right? Then it's kind of fucked up to make others feel that way, right? To put them in that situation. Hurt people, right? So we have the Hanged Man. This is what holds you up, right? This is what gets in the way of that progress, of that forward progression. With the Nine of Cups in reverse, your wish fulfillment, well, it's intangible, right? Because your wish fulfillment would be infringing on the will of another, right? Because ultimately it looks like you want that past person back, or that, because there's such a heavy energetic like connection there. This could also represent, if this is not your current wish fulfillment, if you're like totally over it, this could also represent that things have just not turned out the way that you wanted, right? And with the Five of Cups in reverse, I feel like you're in a state of repairing yourself from feeling that emotional disappointment. And the reparations can take time. And it takes a lot of acceptance, right? It takes a lot of accepting, this is what happened. This is how I reacted to what happened. This is unchangeable, but I can change, the way that I react, respond, and the things that I entertain now, right? We have Four of Wands. I do see in your future that there will be something very stable for you, right? This is a long-term connection. This is commitment, right? This is actually the marriage card. So if you believe in marriage, it does look like that. That could be something in your future. But Not a lot of people believe in marriage. So, this definitely represents like a long-term commitment, something that you invest all of yourself into. But the best way to attain it is to not to be foolish, right? We have the Fool in reverse, Uranus energy, Aquarius energy. And you know, it's like we started out the reading by saying, wait, hold up, don't jump into anything, you know, like really test out the waters, feel it out first, right? And with, you know, with the Fool in reverse, it's kind of the same thing, right? With the Five of Pentacles in reverse, it's like the best way to avoid being left out in the cold, the best way to avoid feeling isolated and alone, you know, and hurt, is to really, you know, think things through, really, you know, be patient with your outcomes, really decide if that's really what you want. We've got 555. We've got Five of Pentacles in reverse, Five of Cups in reverse, and Five of Wands in reverse. All these being in reverse really tells me that, you know, these challenges are very temporal, right? Very time sensitive. These challenges, you know, as soon as you make that decision to get out of the past, and to stop entertaining it and to just be done with it, right? Altogether. You don't entertain them in your thoughts and your memories, whatever. You don't get all nostalgic about it. As soon as you get into the mindset of no longer entertaining it, that's when the growth happens, all right? That's when the forward progression happens. That's when doors start opening up and you start feeling more open to new connections and not chasing the same old connection that didn't work out before, right? Kali Yantra. You have more power to evoke a positive shift in your circumstances than you realize. If anything required for success is lacking, the Divine Mother shall provide it. You are crossing a crucial spiritual threshold. Stay focused, let distractions fall away, and continue to commit yourself to what matters most to your heart. A more beautiful experience awaits you. Like I said, Dumavati. Certain endings are unavoidable. They are necessary precursors to radical reinvention. Any disappointment, defeat, or loss and the negative repercussions of such experiences will not limit your future happiness, but are opening up yet unrecognized pathways for fulfillment. Your trust must be unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything is worked out for the absolute best. Kamala Devi. Held within Kali's protection, your heart radiates peace, certainty, and beauty. Her grace melts frustration into inspiration, fatigue into replenishment, and overactivity into effortless attraction. Kamala is a golden pathway of divine protection and peaceful contentment. She empowers your heart to receive with the same generosity, openness, and grace that you express when you give. You are swiftly approaching sacred fruition. And that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful. Namaste. I love you all, and I will see you later.